Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
But tell me, Eddie, is that a rabbit in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me?
Alright, let me start my camera. Hello, everybody. Welcome. We are back talking the sequel to the 1975 classic, 1978's Jaws 2, which is, like I said last week, timeline is a bit off. Timeline's a bit off considering how old, in particular, the kids were in the 1975 movie, but still a solid sequel when it comes to the Jaws franchise. And then we only really watched the third and the fourth one for the memes.
Mm-hmm. But then again, this Jaws 1 was confirmed to have taken place in 1974 thanks to the murder sheet that the chief filled out.
Mm-hmm. Well, still, if you factor in that the, let's say, older kid, Michael, was about 11, roughly.
Yeah, he would have only been 15 in this, so...
Yeah, it's still off by a couple years because they literally drop his age in this movie. Like, he's 17, he wanted to get a job. Because at one point, his father makes him stay on the beach painting. I'm not sure exactly what he's painting, like some structure on the beach, pretty much.
Oh, the
outhouse.
Yeah, so he's like, yeah, so he drops his age. Like, he's supposed to be 17, but, like, you know, with only a 3-year difference, he'd be like 14, 15 years old, pretty much. So it doesn't really make any sense. Same with the little brother, pretty much. So the little brother was about 3 or so in the first movie, which would make him about 6, 7 in this. He looks like he's about 10. So
well, fast forward to 3 though.
I know, I'm saying, like, it's like beginning with 2, the timeline
really
is slightly off, and then just completely goes off the rails in the third one. So it's like they don't believe in continuity in that regard. But anyway. But like I said, it's still a solid sequel. I'm saying that it's more like just pointing it out. Not that it's going to be, like, you know, take away from anything in the film.
It's probably an oversight.
I'm saying it's more like pointing it out. It's like, wait a minute, that's a little bit off. I'm not saying it takes away anything from the film per se. Just that I noticed it the first time I watched it because I was like, there's something off.
Have you
with
read
the ages?
Have you read the novel for Jaws 2?
No.
I read it last year. It is different, and it's based on the original script.
Normally, novels are.
Yeah,
because while filming, things change, but they always commission the novel before the film is done, so that way it can be timed with the release of the film. So you'll notice even like books today, based on the movie, is always based off of a script.
Yeah, the ending actually takes place during night, and there's fog because the kids are doing a sailboat race thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's going on. So
that's what generally happens. So whenever you do read books that are essentially based off the film, typically the more accurate would be based off a script.
Yeah.
For the film, because they always commission it so it's timed around the release of the movie, so no spoilers happen. But anyway, so before I say hello to the chat, since we started talking, so welcome everybody. We'll be talking Jaws 2 as my normal co-host for 1s and 2s, Orange Chat Reviews. Let everybody know where they can find you, all that fun stuff. And which of the two? Because I don't think I asked this last time, but which of the two do you prefer? Like, or is there differences? Enough differences between the two that you like both equally or something?
Jaws 1 is perfect standard psychological horror. Jaws 2 is good. However, it's not as good as Jaws. And I am Orange Hat Reviews. You can find me on Twitter at Orange Hat Patriot. And you can also find my backup there at Orange Hat 2185. I bounce back and forth every now and then. I am on YouTube at Orange Hat Reviews. I do mystery reviews on Tuesdays mornings. I do the Barroom podcast with my friend Society Reviews on his channel Tuesday nights at 9. Sundays, I do Infinity Saga Sundays, where I'm going to be covering Doctor Strange this Sunday. And tomorrow, me and Mara are beginning a new stream for singles where she does 1s and 2s. I'm doing one, or we're going to be doing one-offs on my channel, beginning with Big Trouble in Little China.
Yes,
So,
and the camera is now showing the poster in the back because whenever I stream on Kick or Twitch, it doesn't want to show the poster, but there it is.
yep.
So I can pretty much quote that movie.
Oh, that movie is very
Beginning
quotable.
to end. Beginning to end. But yeah, so it'll be like about 8 p.m. Eastern. So the same time we normally do this, and go till about 9:30. But like so we'll be going through pretty much trivia and so forth. I imagine much like the 1s and 2s, but it's going to be up to him. So I'm leaving it the ball's in his court, to quote the Ubisoft CEO, pretty much. Anyway, but Stieg, all right, is joining us for this discussion. He was not able to join us last week, but he's available to talk about the sequel to Jaws and offer his input. So Stieg, let everybody know where they can find you and all that fun stuff.
Well, usually on this channel or Teresa's channel, really. I slept last time.
So, which is
Time
perfectly
zones.
fine. Yeah, time
Yeah,
zone.
it's just the way it's got to be. Sometimes.
Yeah.
But
anyway,
this was the first Jaws movie I watched. Watched this before one, and a friend of mine had it on a. He had recorded it onto VHS recorded from the TV. So as bootlegged as it can get, really.
Well, I remember those days when you had to make sure you fast forwarded to the end of whatever program you had recorded. Otherwise, you risk losing it forever.
Yep.
Yep.
But anyway, I'm gonna say hello to the chat, and we'll go into. I love how the first scene in this movie is like, yes, it's like like we do kind of see the shark, but it's more or less like we see a shot of the orca to kind of harken back to the first movie and why the two divers who were the victims at the beginning of this movie are down in, like, the first place taking pictures of the wreckage. Yeah. So, Gravy, hello, can't be here tonight, but having a fantastic stream, and I did see that you became a member, Gravy, so thank you so much if you're still in the chat. Trey says, I'm ready for this lit discussion just when you thought it was safe to go back in the water. Yes. If that quote had not been so long, I probably would have used it, but I figured I can't. It would have been really tiny on the thumbnail, so I picked the quote, "Sharks don't take things personally." Yeah. Because that's a line from the expert when they were studying the carcass of the killer whale, and she says to Brody, "Sharks don't take things personally, Mr. Brody." Well, we find that out in Jaws 4 that they are not only take things personally, they are psychic.
Yeah.
Or under voodoo spells.
Yeah, or under voodoo, something like that. I have no idea.
According to the novel.
Yeah. But Jariah's Lament, good to see you. Ms. Martin Musa sent you over. Hello, Keely, and I see Ms. Martin Teresa sent you over as well. Good to see you. Orange Chat, I see you in the chat as well. So
she sent me over too.
Yay, Abomination. Yes. So
I think we got another shark problem.
I wish they kept the scene where the mayor's the only one that backs him up in that meeting.
Yeah.
So at least it would have been like someone on his side prior to his wife and deputy realizing that Brody's been right this whole time near the end of the film.
Yep.
So yes, this is my kick. I'll be live there Friday afternoon. So thank you so much. Snortapoopus Cuber, hello. Good to see you. Charlie Stevenson, what's up? Here from Ms. Martin Muses, also going to represent the Ursine hegemony in this shark-infested subject. Okay, there you go. Funny thing is, Steven Spielberg was willing to come back, and Universal waited for him to finish Close Encounters. Same with Dreyfuss. Yes, they were both asked to return for the sequel, but they were filming Close Encounters of the Third Kind, which was running behind schedule. So the studio decided not to wait, even though I don't think it would have made much difference. So So, and speaking of, hello, Ms. Martin Uses. Good to see you.
Boy, Steven Spielberg was really on an alien kick, wasn't he?
For a while, yes. Meth Shark versus Cocaine Bear, would watch that. There's also, I mean, I don't know how real this is, but I've seen this poster going around. I want to say it's a meme, but if it ends up being real, I will laugh so hard. And that's the Crack Coon poster with the raccoon on crack.
Oh, have you seen? Here's a review tip for you, Orange. Zombievers.
Zombie what?
Zombievers.
I think I have seen that. Yeah, I saw that.
Beavers. They drop trees on people.
Yep.
Okay, it's real, Trey. I see your comment. All right, it's real. So Crack Coon is real.
Oh my god, that just sounds so fucking racist by today's standard.
I know. Hey, Darth Gutierrez, good to see you. Yeah, then in 3 they're grown men. So basically, like the timeline completely goes out the window by the 3rd movie.
And the 4th one correctly ignores the 3rd one.
Yeah.
But the 4th one should not have been made.
No.
To this day, I don't think that Michael Caine has seen Jaws: The Revenge.
I do not blame him. I pretend it doesn't exist either.
Yeah.
I pretend it does not exist either.
I like
the same here, Trey. Like, we would have seen one person believe him, or at least be in his corner, if they had not deleted the scene with the mayor. So, or edited it out. Oh yeah,
and
an original script
the
Ghost Town.
Chase scene in the wreck in Jaws 4. That was good.
Yeah. It had its moments, but freaking Looney Tune roaring shark is just...
Oh yeah, roaring shark, yes. And somehow under a voodoo spell or psychic or something, it's one stretch of the imagination to assume that, like, you know, that at least there's plausibility in the first movie that there's territoriality to the shark and it's picked these waters as its hunting ground. So that's at least plausible. That's a sound theory. But when you start factoring in voodoo and a shark sounding like a lion, somehow roaring.
I mean, the first one does have a small little roar, but it's not overt. Like,
no, it's more like a nod, pretty much.
Yeah.
You know, it's but like it again just throws any plausibility out the window. Even in the third one, pretty much. But even in the third one, there's at least some slight plausibility. But once you get to the fourth one,
might as well call Jaws 3 Megalodon because the fucking shark was so huge.
I know.
The biggest problem with all of them is the size, because due to the size in the first one, the shark will have to eat 35 kilos of food per day to sustain itself, which is quite a bit. I think it was 35 kilos.
It would have to eat a whole beach of people.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So, yes, in one of the original scripts, it was essentially a ghost town. It was essentially a ghost town because tourism dried up due to the events in the first movie, and that's why you have these developers building condominiums, so hoping to basically to gin up interest, like the return of interest back in coming to Amity, at least for tourism. It's part of the reason why they had that element in the plot, but they removed the ghost town aspect from the script or the final film when it's being shot. And thank you for thinking I'm well spoken. I have my English major father to thank for that. Growing up, and then took public speaking in high school. And part of my duties while in the military was actually standing up and speaking in front of people. So I'm essentially used to it.
She never stops yapping.
Yeah, no, man.
No, I don't have to yap when I have to get like one thought across, Steve.
Silence, woman.
Yes.
Hence why she gets ball gagged in D&D.
Yes, I always give. He's the DM, chat. If you're not aware, I play D&D, and I always give him lip. So I have no regrets.
Yet.
And it started my character again in a ball gag.
Challenge accepted.
Yes. Yes, don't trust that Stieg. He's got them cold, lifeless eyes, like a squirrel's eyes. Yes. And this is my Twitch. I'll be here tomorrow. If I was put it this way, if I'm able to do a gaming stream tomorrow, it'll be in the afternoon. Otherwise, you'll catch me on Orange Hat's channel tomorrow evening talking about Big Trouble in Little China. So, might play the Space Marine game. We'll see. Watch real anime, Stieg, like Ghibli movie, Makoto Shinkai films, Mamoru Hosoda films, Gundam, Attack on Titan, Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer is actually good. Berserk, Jujutsu, Kaisen, Baki, Hajime no Ippo. I actually have to get into the Gundam. Attack on Titan, I kind of checked out of. But Gundam I need to get into. I love Demon Slayer. And I need to go back and like re-catch up on Berserk. Because I started it, but I never finished.
Yeah, I'm not watching that stuff.
The Demon Slayer.
I've tried Vinziger. I've tried.
Demon Slayer is actually quite intriguing to me because it's like, how does something that runs on basic instinct actually turn against its own self, which is Nezuko? So,
it's interesting.
Yeah.
You saw this one at a drive-in. Nice. Found Jaws 2 at the
Old
Blockbuster.
school.
I think I first caught Jaws 2 when it was on TV at one point.
During the COVID shit, my hometown actually showed Jaws. They made a drive-in theater at the park, and they showed Jaws.
Nice.
I wish I had gone.
Plus, a shark and Jaws 4 killed like just 2 people. So
Yeah.
hey, you watch it for the lulz.
No,
we'll be breaking it down, Jiraiya. Yeah.
The shark in Jaws 2 is female.
Yep. It's basically like, you killed my husband, you son of a bitch. We were planning on making a life here.
Hey, Mr. Bentham, what's up? Gigawatt, yes. Mara speaks good. I speak good. I is smart. Yes.
Speaks well.
Shut up. I know.
Like a married couple up here.
Yeah. I'm not going to read this comment, but yeah, I pretty much do. I pretty much do. And I'm equal opportunity. I call everyone a cunt if I don't like you. So males, females, equal opportunity.
Threatens with candles too. She's a shining light.
Yes. Yes, Big Trouble. Yes, we'll be talking about that. I've tried Sieg. He will not. He should, but he will not.
I watched Ghost in the Shell. Joke's on you.
Oh, what did you think of it?
The movie.
Not the movie. I'm talking about the anime.
No,
I'm talking about the anime.
The original animated movie.
Okay. What did you think of it?
There you
go. 6 out of 10. And I
You've probably angered like the entire anime community.
Yeah, well, I'm not afraid of soy, but I also watched Ninja Scroll, and I watched Akira, and Vampire Hunter D. That one I thought was shit.
Yes, single-handedly.
I like Ninja Scroll well enough,
community. At one point, and I might mention this again tomorrow. At one point, there was a rumor going around that they were going to remake Big Trouble in Little China, but it never went through. Thank fuck, because when the rumor was happening, when the talks were happening, it was speculated that The Rock would be in Jack Burton's role. And I'm like, that does not work, because Jack Burton's supposed to be like the everyman. He's supposed to be the one that is thrown into the situation completely out of his league, completely out of his depth, pretty much, when it comes to battling the forces of evil with Lo Pan and the Wing Kong and so forth. But you throw The Rock in, who looks like he could crush Lo Pan with his, like a walnut between his hands. It doesn't work.
I'm just
I remember it being The Rock.
Things.
Yeah, I remember. I remember reading the article, and thinking, and I remember it was The Rock, because I think that does not work. And that does not work either. If they
What are you gonna call it though? Big double in little vagina?
Oh my god. If they all announce that they're doing that, no. No, just
I
no.
can imagine the three storms being female, and the reason why they're flipping and jumping and all that shit is because they're on their periods.
Yeah, because there's a tempest in them.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, so no, will not work.
Jaws 2, folks. Jaws 2.
Yes.
Let's focus.
No. Yeah, I don't trust Hollywood either.
We'll get the big trouble tomorrow.
So yeah, we'll get to it, but yeah, like, but I don't trust. First off, I don't trust Hollywood. Secondly, I think it would be incredibly stupid to do a remake with an all-female cast, or to flip the script so it's like gender swapping the roles. Essentially, would not work. I don't touch it. Don't touch it.
I'm not a fan of the original anyway that much.
Oh,
kick him out. Kick him out.
I have it on Blu-ray though, but it's not my favorite.
See what I have to deal with, Chad? Do you see why I threaten him with cunt candles? See what I have to deal with? Anyway, let me just share this.
You and I are no longer friends.
All right. Anyway, so normally I would basically have the screen paused on the title, but I wanted to have it on this shot because the scene opens up with two divers, and they have one of those cameras that allows you to take pictures underwater, and you see them.
Camera. So an underwater camera.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying it's. Oh my god.
That actually happens in the book.
It's a dive camera.
Yes. And we find out the reason why they have the camera is because they found, or they're diving down to the wreckage of the Orca. So pretty much in the beginning of this movie harkens back to the first film. So, and fine. Yeah, Dempsey pissing everyone off. Yes. But anyway, so, and then we kind of see the shark. It's like unlike the first movie where the shark, we know the shark is there, but we don't see it. It's one of those where we can feel its presence, but we don't really see it until about 2/3 of the way through the film, roughly. Like really see it. We'll catch a fin here and there, pretty much, but for the most part, don't really see the shark until about 2/3 of the way through the first movie. This one, they pretty much start out with, here's the shark. And the trivia said the director did that because, well, the first film already had that presence of the shark where you don't see it, so I'd be copying essentially the first movie. So I'm just going to throw basically start it out with the shark. So,
and not only that, I mean this movie actually had a shark that worked because
for the most part.
Yeah, because the first movie, they couldn't get Bruce to work.
Yeah.
Until near the end of filming.
Sharks in this movie is called Bruce 2.
Yeah.
No, it's called Brucette.
Yeah. Female.
Yeah. I know, but trivia is technically it'd be Bruce 2, pretty much. And then it came out that the shark was female, But anyway, there was a hold on. Let me just
They fixed the jaw thing because in the first one you see there's like a joint at the jaw, right? It doesn't look real at all. But yeah, that is gone in this one.
Yep. Is the audio better?
The sharks for the film were known as Bruce 2. The sharks for the original film had been nicknamed Bruce after Steven Spielberg's lawyer, but on set, they were referred to as Fidel and Harold, the latter after David Brown's Beverly Hills lawyer.
Wow.
So yes, technically the shark is female, but when I said it was known as Bruce 2, that's what they called it, Bruce 2 or Fidel and Harold, pretty much. So
I posted a picture of the size of the sharks.
I gotta.
So this one's bigger than the last one.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I mean, one of the things I do like is that this movie, when they bring in the shark, it just freaking basically flies right into them and just rips them to pieces. However, their deaths are just so freaking fake. What do you do when you're dying underwater? You spin around rapidly.
So I can't really zoom in because Twitter is weird like that. But the picture is for the first Jaws film. You have basically novels 20 feet. The movie made it 25 feet, and then Jaws 2, 5 feet bigger, about 30 feet. Then Jaws 3, another 5 feet bigger, so about 35 feet, so close to almost essentially a megalodon. Then for Jaws Revenge, down to about 28 feet, so closer to the first film in terms of size.
The first one's actually the smallest.
Yep.
Yeah. So.
And everybody thought that the 1916 shark, which was mentioned in the first movie, the 1916 beach incident, they thought it was a great white, but it turned out it's actually a bull shark because it was in a river channel in New Jersey.
Mm-hmm. Females are bigger. Yes, typically females are bigger.
Take a look at Deep Blue. She is freaking humongous.
Mm-hmm. So. Makes sense, though. It's already established, so go ahead and get it out of the way. Not going to be able to build that same tension from the first. Exactly. I'm saying, at least the director in this case was smart because, again, you already had that built-up tension from the first one, so he would just essentially be copying Jaws if he were to at all go the same route. So he just said, essentially just said, screw it, here's the shark.
Yep.
I mean, you're coming here like the sequel that literally has two, and it's I think according to the trivia, it's like the first American film with a actual number for the sequel, as opposed to the Roman numerals. The first movie to actually do that was a British film, Quatermass 2 from 1957, I want to say, or roughly the late 50s. But Jaws 2 was the first American film to do it. So just by that logic, going into this movie that's a sequel to Jaws, so you already know it's going to involve a shark. Or another shark. So why copy the first movie?
Uh-huh.
And so these divers essentially are subsequently attacked. No, you don't really see the blood, but obviously there's no surviving what the shark did. And camera falls. I love the shot of the camera falling and still clicking as it's hitting the ground. So, you see the shark's jaw. Yeah, I'm saying you see like enough that that's a shark. There's no at all doubt, dubiousness to it. Could it is it a shark? Is it another? Basically, are they getting attacked by something else? Maybe, I don't know, killer whale. But anyway, Mariah, is that how that's pronounced? So.
Yep, that's my friend.
Okay, so. But anyway, so you see, I guess I'm not sure exactly what is Ellen Brody's role with these developers. Is she kind of like a liaison of sorts?
Secretary.
Because we see her basically, because in the first one it's implied that she's more or less a stay-at-home mom. We don't hear her or see her going to a job or hear her talking about work, and in this case she's part of she's at least a part of the commission bringing in the developers that are going to be putting up these condos or condominiums on Amity to continue drumming up interest in Amity as a tourist destination. Secretary basically, because they didn't really give her a title, so I didn't exactly know what to call her. But there's Amity Shores Holiday Inn. I remember those like Holiday Inn commercials where it's like, oh no, I'm not a lawyer, but I stayed at the Holiday Inn, pretty much. Remember those? Like from like a few years back or something? Every time I see Holiday Inn, I just think of those stupid commercials. But this is a scholarship fund, and I love how like these kids are supposed to be 17. Kids are supposed to be 17, and one of the girls who was like Miss Amity.
Yeah.
It's the girlfriend of one of the friends. So it's like that. I'm like thinking. Now I don't care. I know they have like pageants for high school age students, but at the same time I was thinking, oh, the number of ring pretty much that would happen today, because like she walks out onto that platform in a swim. It's a one piece.
Yeah.
But the amount of ring that would happen just for that scene alone, where she cuts the ribbon, because she's in the swimsuits. So like,
she was also recast. I'm not sure who the original actress was, though.
Mm-hmm. I read the trivia. I didn't see anything about like any of the recasting, so I'm not sure.
I was watching the interviews from Daily Jaws. It's a YouTube channel, and they interviewed a buttload of them, including the director.
Shino Swark.
Yeah, and he debunked that claim. You know, when people say that, you know, when is it Marge that gets eaten in front of Sean?
Yeah.
Yeah, people claim that they've seen a shot of her inside the shark's mouth. Did not happen. It's never been shot, because they basically pull her down below the shark.
Yeah, they pull her down below the shark, and I think there was a trivia that said like originally before, obviously script changes were made, and that is like she was supposed to survive somehow and be saved by the helicopter pilot who himself survived in the capsized helo, because he found like an air bubble, and he was able to pull her from the ocean into the helo, or the cabin of the helo, so that she could get air. Obviously was not shot, basically, but like that was like in one of the scripts. That was supposed to happen. So
they had Andy. Is that the guy, the chubby guy with the curly hair?
Yes.
He was supposed to jump in, and they actually they filmed it, but it wasn't used. He was supposed to jump in to try and save the chopper pilot.
Mm-hmm. The chopper pilot is actually a pilot. He's not an actor.
And he had a manly beard.
Yes, let me try to see if I can find the trivia about him, because he actually not only piloted the helo, he was an ex-Army pilot, but he actually built the where is it? Hold on.
The body for the helo to crash.
The full-scale model that capsized. So he actually built that. So it says the helicopter used in aerial shots belonged to real-life ex-Army pilot Jerry M. Baxter. It was hired while he was running a crop dusting business, after the filmmakers fancied a helicopter attack and determined that this one was perfect for the job. He was not only hired to fly it, but was asked to play the part of the harbor patrol pilot as well. In addition, he also built a full-scale model that was capsized by the shark using salvaged parts and sold it to Universal at the film's completion.
Wow.
So he was not only actually piloting that helicopter, but he built the one that capsized. So, yeah, they look like they should be in college. So
I really do like this scene, because it's like Andy comes up to Michael, and he's like, "Your mom make the punch?" No. Good, because it's terrible.
So I actually didn't mind Andy, because
he had growth, because he stepped up protecting Sean.
Yep.
Yes.
And he actually told Sean, it's like, "I'm going to break your ass." How often, or you don't hear parents or grown-ups say that anymore.
Just that in general. Like I still love the scene, but at the same time, I'm like, this is the only movie I think I've ever heard someone say "break your ass." I've heard "beat your ass," but not "break your ass."
Well, the normal words or wording would be, "I'm going to break my foot off in your ass."
Yeah, something like that. But I don't know if he meant to say something and it kind of came off and they just decided to go with it, or I don't know. it just I'm just saying it's one of those where I caught it and I was like, this I've never heard. He's the only person I've heard say it like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I didn't mind him. I didn't mind him. So he offered enough levity in scenes where it's like, if he had kept going, it would have come across as annoying. But I feel like either the script or the actor knew when to kind of taper off and let the audience digest whatever he said that was supposed to be funny. And this quote right here, all right, we'll get. I'm gonna kind of see if I can. So no, that's the party. We're not gonna really show everything, pretty much.
The intro to the shark coming into Amity was pretty good, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the scene.
Yeah, like, so this is where we're pretty much like we kind of get essentially introduced to Michael's friends in the party scene with like little tidbits of conversation here and there, getting a feel for the characters. And this one, it's the scene, like part of the scene is like Michael is asked to, like his friend, I can't remember what the character's name is, the female friend, but she's essentially setting Michael up with her cousin.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the cousin's the most annoying character in the damn franchise.
Well, she's definitely not an Islander because she freaked out so much. I mean, it's like
all she does is scream and give away their position.
Right?
Like I do agree with that. To play devil's advocate for just a bit, to be fair to the character, there are people like that. There are people that, for whatever reason, go to 11 when they're panicking. Even when you know the situation, they should be calm and everything like that. They just go to 11 whenever they're panicking. They start hyperventilating, they start screaming and so forth.
Well,
yes, but at the same time, it's like she's giving away their position pretty much. Even though, but at the same time, it's like the shark already knows they're there because it's attacking them. So she's screaming after the shark attacks. So it's like,
I would have tossed her in.
You can also tell that she's kind of spoiled, really. I mean, when Larry takes her out on his boat, she's like, faster, faster. I want to go faster. And then, I mean, you could tell that this girl is kind of grew up, not with a silver spoon in her mouth, but definitely... well,
she's kind of spoiled a little bit.
Yeah, she's definitely spoiled. And she's thrust into a situation that is totally beyond her control that she's not used to.
Mm-hmm. So, I'm going to break your ass is commonly used in the South. Being from Texas, I hear it regularly. Okay, I'm just saying there's one of the the only time I've ever heard it. I'm from the North, so I've heard "beat your ass."
Yeah, I mean I've heard it on occasion when I was younger, because why I said it, it's like I haven't heard that said in so long. But then again, it was always directed toward me when I was misbehaving as a kid.
They kind of repress those memories pretty much. But anyway, like this line here, where Larry is the son of the mayor. Basically Larry Jr. And when he sees the cousin for the first time, that line was ad-libbed by the actor playing Larry Jr. That wasn't in the script. So, and according to the trivia, the actor regretted saying it. Even though, the actress playing the cousin, what's her name? Donna, the screaming chick. So she forgave him, right? Like, so she forgave him. She was fine with that, but he said he regretted those words leaving his mouth. I think it means pretty much that she's got small tits. Like, they're small.
Tits like a sparrow. Yeah, sparrows are kind of small birds.
Yeah, they're small birds. So when he says that, he's pretty much going like, she's got mosquito bites for boobs, pretty much.
Wouldn't even consider them lumps.
Yeah, so that's essentially what it means.
Flat chest.
Yeah. Which, I don't know. I've seen flatter, but I don't know. That line left his mouth, and that's pretty much stuck in the movie. So, so like we see, they basically have a tight knit group of friends. You have Tina and Eddie, who they're the ones that always have their hands all over each other. Couple. Then you have like the two, essentially the two, I would say, nerdy characters. One played by Keith Gordon, and the only other movie I've seen Keith Gordon in is Christine, based on a Stephen King book. So,
wasn't that the one that Halloween Ends was basically based off of?
I haven't seen Halloween Ends.
Don't.
But I've heard enough spoilers to know that I don't want to. But Christine was the possessed car.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like one of them is a Napoleon Dynamite looking dude. Like I used call them like the two nerds, and this the group of friends. I say for the most part, they're how do I say this? Serviceable as far as characters. Like there's something like that really stands out about them. There's nothing really like they don't really like fade into the background. Essentially, they're typically come across as typical teenagers.
Well, yeah, horny teenagers.
Yeah, who live on an island. So they're used to sailing their boats and going to the beach and hanging out that way, pretty much.
You would think the mayor's son would have been, the prick of the bunch, but he isn't.
Oh, he does have his moments. I will say that. I mean, when he's ready to just shake the hell out of the one freaking out. I mean, yeah, she should have been tossed overboard because she's constantly freaking out. But it's like, dude, you don't grab a person like that and just start thrashing them because they're.
Well, he could have easily been the antagonist of the bunch, but they didn't really have an antagonist amongst the kids, did they?
That's fine. Yeah. James, going to type in private chats. I don't know. I can't spell. Anyway. So, sorry. Orange looks like his camera froze on him. I don't know if it's StreamYard's acting up or what. So, but we're not going into the specifics basically because we can't go into individually each of one of their friends. But what did you think of the group of friends basically around Michael in this film, Steve?
Apart from the one that wasn't on the island, all of them are fine. There's nothing. Mm-hmm. They're not annoying or anything. The Andy character could have easily been the annoying one, but they didn't go that route. No,
I could see moments where he could have gone that route.
Yeah,
because he's the character that no matter the situation, he has like something quippy to say or something that he thinks is funny. But I don't know if it was the writing or just the acting itself. Like he knew when to kind of dial it back a little bit. Yeah, they didn't go. According the Trey's words, they did not go full douche with Larry Jr. So there's moments where you could see a little bit of like a for one of a better way of putting it, preppy douche essentially that come out. But for the most part, I would chalk that up to him being a typical teenager. So.
And Andy kind of steps up more than the other ones.
Yeah,
kind of takes charge a bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this guy here, I guess, her boss. Yes.
Oh my God! That dude was so freaking annoying. I called him back when I was a kid because I drew a comparison between him and Neil Diamond. I always said that guy was like Neil Diamond's asshole older brother.
Yeah. Hey,
how do you like Michael is in this film?
Welcome sequel. Yeah, I would say I agree with that. It was a solid sequel. Yeah. We didn't need it, but it was a solid sequel. So,
Roy Scheider was a prick on the set.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go with that.
He didn't want to be in the movie, so he tried to kind of sabotage things. And he would, in between shoots, he would basically remove his shirt and sit down in a lounger and just tan himself and stuff. And when it was time to shoot stuff, right, he would take a long time putting on, his shirt again, and just basically just.
That explains so much. Because there are a couple scenes.
I got that from the cast watching the interviews a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
So he was being, but I think someone had a chat with him, and he kind of cooled it down a bit. But there was also a physical fight between him and the director.
Oh yeah,
and
they actually had to be pulled apart.
Yeah, and Scheider kind of realized he had screwed up a bit. So later on, they were watching a boxing match, and Scheider had joked with the director, said, "Yeah, that boxer punched the opponent, weaker than you punched me, or something, just to loosen the tension."
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
But he was apparently really good with the young actors, Roy Scheider. But he was kind of distant. But he also he wasn't an asshole to the actors. He was just an asshole to the
it says
director
part
and everyone else.
Part of the trivia says Roy Scheider did not originally want to appear in the film, but had recently left the production of The Deer Hunter, which led to conflicts with Universal Pictures, with whom he was locked into a multi-film contract. The studio agreed to forgive him. Yeah, the studio agreed to forgive his leaving The Deer Hunter if he did this film, which they would count as the 2 remaining films of his contract with them. Scheider agreed to the terms, but was resentful of his involvement from the onset and clashed frequently with director, was it Jeannot Schwartz?
Jeannot Schwartz.
Yeah.
Yeah, Schwartz.
According to his biographer, Roy Scheider was so desperate to be relieved from the role that he pled insanity and went crazy in the Beverly Hills Hotel. So, yeah. Another little bit is that he referred to the film as lousy, in part due to making everybody else's life a misery during production, as he didn't want to do the film years after his attitude mellowed towards the film. So basically, his feelings towards the film is more or less centered on his clashing with the director and not wanting to do the film or be part of the film.
Yeah, he
so
basically
became obligated to do the sequel when he left The Deer Hunter. So
he was basically pissed at the studio and took it out on the director.
Yeah. So,
and not only that, he wasn't the only actor that was not really wanting to be there, because Murray Hamilton also needed to leave or wanted to leave, and you can actually see it in his acting in a couple of scenes where he just he doesn't want to be there.
Is it he requested his scenes be shot early because his wife was scheduled for a biopsy. So he shot his scenes, but you could tell that he again didn't want to be there. But for him, it was more or less because he wanted to be by his wife, wife,
because his wife was sick, I believe.
She had cancer.
Yeah. Bad. She passed away from it, I think.
Yeah.
And then him.
So that I figure if that hadn't happened, Roy Scheider would probably have been the only one who didn't want to be there. But yeah, you can tell that he didn't want to be there. But for him, it was more personal reasons regarding his wife than just I'm pissed off at the studio because they're making me do this. So
yeah. I will say this: Roy Scheider plays a really good drunk in this.
Yeah. So.
Did you catch the throwback when he's drunk? When he returns home, you see the barrels from Jaws 1 outside his front door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like this. The flower pots, quote unquote, are the yellow barrels from the first movie.
There's also a scene that I'm not sure if it was shot, but they were going to have Roy Scheider's character visit Quint's grave,
Oh wow, that would have been
which
nice.
is naturally empty,
Yeah.
and apparently his name is Sam Quint.
Huh.
I'd have to look that up because I don't remember seeing that as part of the trivia. I do remember that there was a scene shot that was used for essentially publicity for the film leading up to the release of the film, which showed Murray Hamilton's character, the mayor, comforting Ellen Brody on the beach, but which says that the scene was shot but did not make it into the movie. So for all I know, it was shot, but I didn't see any trivia for it. Probably also, yeah, I didn't like the idea of the sequel because, again, it's not really necessary. You have the proverbial happy ending at the end of Jaws, so it's like,
Yeah.
really did not need a sequel. But again, like when I say that Hollywood has not changed since its like beginnings, it had literally has not changed since its beginnings. It's always been basically money hungry, and if it smells any potential of making money, even if that means capitalizing on the success of the first film and making a sequel, it's always done that. It has always done that. Hell, in one decade alone, it remade the same. It did a remake of a film that was like only about 5-6 years prior.
Yeah.
It's always done that.
Yeah.
So Hollywood, yeah, is literally like a shark. If it smells blood in the water, aka moolah, money, it'll attack. It'll pounce. So
Also, I do like this scene here with the guy. He's like, "This girl is teasing or driving my boy to distraction."
yeah, I love when he's like, I want to talk to you about this 908. It's like, what the hell is a 908? I never heard of a 908. 908 means get me the hell out of there.
Oh, the name of the deputy changes between
yeah.
1 and 2.
Yeah.
Is it from Jeff to Lenny or Lenny to Jeff?
Lenny to Jeff, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, so they don't even pay attention to the name of the deputy in the first film.
Oh, and the cast still keep in touch.
Yep. A lot of them still live in Martha's Vineyard.
They also there's trivia where they hired a bunch of high school students and they paid them like $3 an hour as extras and stuff on the beach. So you have these kids just happy that they're missing class and getting paid to do so in this movie. And also some of them, I read this bit of trivia. Some of them that were like the high school students that were hired, some of them were actually used as doubles for the main cast of kids in some of the scenes, like for the sailing and so forth, because these are actual the islanders who knew how to operate the small boats and things like that. So they were actually kept as doubles for the main cast.
Except for the kid who played Eddie, I think, had no training. He arrived later than the others.
Yeah.
I think, like, for the most part, yeah, he didn't get any training, but whenever like they had breaks between shoots, it said that they would actually go out on the water and practice.
Yeah, they did.
So, yeah, so I feel like even though he came later, he at least would have gotten some practice during the downtime. Yeah, she's teasing him. She's driving him to distraction. Yes.
Dancing around in a towel. It'd be like, and why is this kid complaining?
Oh, the dad probably found out.
Yeah, it's like.
Yeah, it's like, oh,
Daddy
Dad, I
wants you
really
for
don't
something
want to
else.
look. I really don't want to look at this girl. So
What are you, gay, kid?
Yeah, I know.
And back then, it was a serious issue.
I also love the guy that's complaining about the kid on his ham radio going breaker, or CB radio going breaker, breaker, breaker.
Yeah, that's the photographer guy, Fogarty.
Yeah. So he's like, I can't watch a movie. I can't do this. I can't do this. All I hear is this damn kid on the radio going, breaker, breaker, breaker. So I'm like, oh my god. If I were Brody, I would have been like, I would have picked a fake number as well. Like, I want to talk to you about this, like, whatever. Like, come in here. Like, get me the hell out of here. I couldn't imagine dealing with that shit on a daily basis So, I don't think he ever dealt with the karate chopping juvenile delinquents. No, I don't think he ever did. In the first one, I think those fences are still chopped. So, that would be the same, yeah. So, but anyway, like, what do you think of Let me just like, I'm gonna fast forward to a scene. So I want to talk about. No, well, hold on. I'm just trying to like fast forward. I wanted to show the water skier, but this. Hold on, where's the orca? Anyway, so you get to see how Orange Hat froze again.
That one has a shot of her being eaten, swimming in the surf, but it didn't make it to the movie.
Yeah, I'm trying to get a shot of the orca. Okay, I think that's a bit later.
It's after this scene.
Yeah, it's after this thing, yeah. So basically, this is the water. Get off. So this is a water skiing scene.
Everything with you is next week.
Yes, everything's next week. So, I think like, I know that people were like, when we were talking about Jaws last week, we're talking about the one woman in the boat who ends up pouring the flammable liquid onto herself. So, and you, like I said, you were gonna talk about that this week. But basically, the scene is like the water skiers she's first attacked, obviously, because you see the pattern in the water to the shark, it mimics a fish, basically. So it goes after the water skier first and then attacks the boats.
Because if you actually look at the attack, the shark is dipping the boat. And if you pay attention to the timing of how, or when she picks up that fuel and the dip of the boat, not to mention she is in pure freakout mode. She's not thinking rationally. She's just trying to think survive. She wasn't trying to commit suicide, as a lot of people claim. She was trying to kill the shark. She just didn't realize she put a lot of fuel on herself, because adrenaline is a wonderful thing. It can numb you to all sorts of things, even things like flammable liquid being poured on your skin.
Mm-hmm.
So those people are
I know when I saw the scene for the first time, my assumption was that she initially picked that up to pour it onto the shark, because she then takes the flare gun to essentially burn the shark, pretty much. Essentially burn the shark.
And she goes from Brucette to Scarface in half a minute.
Yeah. So, where it's like, yeah, it comes across as strange and so forth, but at the same time, I'm kind of with Orange Hat. You know, it's when you do have an adrenaline rushing through you, and your mind goes from like 0 to panic mode, you're not exactly thinking in terms of logical steps and rationally.
Yeah.
If she hadn't spilled it on herself, it might have worked.
Yeah, I'm saying, I think she initially picked it up because she was going to, might not have killed the shark, but at least she was going to drive it away.
Yeah.
But the shark kept hitting the boats, and doing so, she's being knocked back. Her body's going like this. The liquid goes onto her, pretty much.
She rolled a 1.
Yes.
And let's see here. If she didn't shoot the or one of the things I do like about this movie is they actually give you a shark or on a shot for on top of the shark.
Mm-hmm.
which is pretty cool
I
to
love the
see.
shot here where the fin
Yeah.
comes up and then goes back down in the water. I wish I could play it, but I don't want to risk getting like copyright claimed, even though there's no sound.
Yeah.
But I love that shot. Anyway, I'm trying to just skip forward a little bit so the skiers draw down, and at that point, I think what doesn't really make sense is the shark coming back to go after the boats.
Well, it's a murderous man-eating shark.
Yeah,
Don't question
so
it. Back
I
in
think
the
that I think
70s.
that's the only thing in this movie where it's like I'm not trying to pass myself off as a shark expert, but for me, like that's the only thing in this part in this really scene that doesn't make any sense for the shark to return to go after the boats.
Well, it did that in the first movie too. After they went.
Yep.
So, in
No rhyme or reason.
in that regard, to me, for the first movie, that felt like the shark basically dismantling its enemy. Why it went back after the boats. This one here doesn't quite make as much sense. Because, like for the first movie, after it eats Quint, it's kind of seeing the boat essentially as a challenger. So it's going to take out the challenger. This here doesn't make any too much sense to me.
Well, shark behavior is if they bite something that doesn't seem edible, they will back off of it. This is basically just malice or monster mayhem.
Yes. So,
unless
go ahead.
It perceives a danger to it, or it perceives a threat to its territory. This is, or basically territoriality again. So this is something big in its territory. Get it the hell out. So,
which again makes more sense with the orca, not so much this boat. I think the shark would be longer than this boat here.
Yeah, but then again, this boat did have something or food attached to it, so it's like, okay, is there going to be food on it?
Well, maybe. I'm in no means a shark expert. I'm just saying, like,
none of us are.
There's little things like bits about the scene that don't quite make sense.
It's a throwback to the first movie.
Yeah. So
with when Ellen reads the book, and you see the shark.
So I know, I know it's a throwback, but at the same time, it's like. But anyway, wait until Shark Week tomorrow, then you'll be an expert. Yeah, pretty much.
Oh my God, they got Jason Momoa doing Shark Week.
While you will never catch me far away from the shoreline, I might wade into the water a little bit while on the beach to cool off. You'll never find me far from the shoreline. I do find sharks incredibly fascinating because they are, if not the perfect apex predator, they are like right up there as perfect apex predators because they're almost the perfect killing machine. Like, I find them morbidly fascinating. You would find me nowhere near them, but I find them fascinating. It's just a monster moment in classic Jaws 2 scene. So I'm just saying, I'm the type of person that kind of tries to find at least a little bit of plausibility and logic in some scenes, and I'm like,
after watching this movie, I actually it was when I was a kid, I went to go swimming in my grandfather's pool, and I started feeling just dreadfully scared in the pool because I thought a shark was going to get me. And it's like, I'm in a pool, man. Snap out of it.
They're older than dinosaurs for a reason. Yeah, like they are the perfect killing machine.
I basically grew up on an island like Amity.
Mm-hmm.
But I went in the water anyway.
But anyway, yeah, you don't live through many extinctions unless you're doing something right. Like, there's something about sharks that they are pretty much built as the perfect killing machine, the perfect, like basically the quintessential apex predator.
The great white is the perfected evolution, where every other shark is exaggerated feature in one way or another.
Yeah.
Bull sharks are are way more aggressive. Hammerhead sharks have an evolved like a seventh sense.
Mm-hmm.
Several different other sharks. I mean, blue sharks are kind of like great whites, but they're a lot more timid. Makos are built for speed. It's just, or threshers have the exaggerated tail fin to help stun prey, where the great white is a perfectly balanced killing machine.
Yeah. So crocodiles too, yes.
Oh yeah, look at the saltwater crocodiles. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So these are, so you have the two divers at the beginning of the movie, and these are, if you exclude the killer whale, these are the next two victims. So we're up to 4.
Also, they missed an opportunity there. They could have had Mrs. Kintner be the witness. So Mrs. Kintner from
Yep.
Jaws 1.
Instead, they had just a old Islander lady.
Mm-hmm. Body count went higher, yes.
I'm guessing they that Mrs. Kintner in the Jaws universe left Amity Island after her son was killed.
No, because she's in Jaws 4.
Is she?
Yeah, at Sean's funeral.
Oh yeah,
no
that's
shit.
right. That's
Yeah.
right.
Which
I
makes
repressed that
sense
movie.
because she
I
lost.
repressed that movie so much.
Yep. Yep.
It's a guilty pleasure thing for me.
Yeah.
I watch it on occasion. I mean, I watch it just to see a couple of scenes because there are scenes that it's like they really do show the shark, and I'm thinking, huh, this is fun. But it's
there's
just this. I don't acknowledge it as a Jaws movie.
Let's see. There's okay. It says co-starring in this sequel is Lorraine Gary, reprising her role as Ellen Brody. Gary is one of only 2 actors, the other being Fritzy Jane Courtney, who plays Mrs. Taft, to appear in 3 of the 4 films in the Jaws series. The others being the original Jaws and the final film Jaws: The Revenge. Neither Gary nor Courtney appear in Jaws 3D.
Yeah.
So the actress who plays Mrs. Kintner was in 2. So she was just one shy of being in the, along with Lorraine Gary and Fritzy Jane Courtney.
Who is Fritzy Jane Courtney?
Mrs. Taft.
Yeah, the obnoxious town council lady.
Oh yeah, right. Black-haired lady.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one that's like, I don't see it. Like, it's like, again, I don't see it. Like, I'm thinking like, even if you don't see like the shark in the picture, or if you have any doubts, like just the experience alone from what you went through like 3 years prior, wouldn't you be like, maybe we should consider the possibility of a shark being in the water?
I would have told them this. Look, I know what I did on the beach was a mess up, but judging by what I have gone through to save this town and what I have experienced with a great white, I do have experience in this field. You guys may not want to deal with this because, we got to save the summer, but you ain't going to have a summer if you don't deal with this problem. Like Hooper said in the first movie when Mayor was yelling at him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this is on. So I find it interesting that this is a killer whale. Let me just see. On. I come across it. I'm just getting a shot of it because killer whales are actually predators to sharks.
Have you watched Orca?
Yep. I reviewed that one too.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's got what is it, Peter O'Toole or Richard Harris?
Richard Harris.
Yeah.
So they are. It's basically like the irony is because orcas or killer whales are like predators to sharks. Pretty much, they are the only really predator to great white sharks.
Yep.
Yeah. Hence the name of the boat.
Yes. In the first film, and you have an orca with a considerably huge bite mark taken out of it, which, according to the experts brought in to examine this killer whale, said there would have to be a great white of considerable size.
Orcas are more dangerous to people than sharks. Orcas will kill people for fun. Just grab them and drown them. It happened in. You can find clips of it happening in SeaWorld.
Yep. There are. Depends on really the pod, or because orcas have a lot of pods. Some orcas are actually very much like their dolphin brethren, where they're actually quite sociable to humans, where others are extremely hostile towards humans.
Yeah.
They're extremely intelligent. That's the thing. They, in some ways, are a lot more intelligent than us. They can remember things very easily. They go by their experiences. That's how they behave. What they experience determines their behavior.
I wouldn't say that the mayor immediately disbelieved Brody, because he
called
did
the
say,
expert in.
yeah, he called the expert in, which tells us that he did at least give credence to what Brody was saying or what Brody possibly believed, but he didn't want to immediately jump to the same conclusion as Brody until he heard from the expert, and the expert said that didn't exactly agree or necessarily side with Brody. So the mayor's going off the expert versus how he acted in the first movie, where he basically dismissed the expert, Hooper.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he also entertains the thought in this one because he says, "Are all missing people shark attacks?" No.
Yes.
Maybe they are. Bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
But I love his reaction. I think we have another shark problem. Are you serious? It's like, oh, fuck, here we go again.
Yes. So I wouldn't say he immediately disbelieved him, but he wasn't exactly going to immediately believe him either. Because he also had to keep in mind that, much like with the first movie, he is trying to make everyone in town happy. He has to keep Amity open because they rely on tourism, and he has these developers coming in that are going to putting up hotels and stuff on Amity, which would bring in more income. So he just didn't want to cause a panic. He didn't want to go, oh my god, we have a shark, close the beach, pretty much.
Yeah. Oh, Trey is correct. Orcas torture. They do.
Yep.
They do it to
really
baby
do.
seals. It's really twisted that they actually throw them to each other.
Yep.
Almost like playing a ball game with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Orcas are, a lot
up.
of people say that animals, or there's no malicious animal in nature. It's like, have you ever heard of an orca?
Yeah, and the hippos.
Yep.
Hippos are vicious.
Yeah.
Everybody wants a hippopotamus for Christmas, and it's like, I don't.
No.
I know what those fuckers can do.
They can crush me with their jaws. Like, they have just the.
They'll swallow you whole, Mara.
Yeah, I'm saying they just alone, just biting down on you alone, they would kill you.
Mm-hmm.
I think hippos are the mammals that kill the most people per year in the world.
Yeah, they actually do.
Yep.
People yeah, they actually do.
Yep.
Great whites are the only.
You never think it, but yeah, it's the hippos.
Even the fucking croc, or even the Nile crocs, don't fuck with the hippos.
No. Great whites are the only sharks that stick their heads out of the water. Saw Jaws 2 for the first time on a 13-inch TV at my aunt's house on HBO. She got me into the Jaws world. Yeah. Like I said, I'm fascinated with sharks. You would not catch me anywhere near them, but I'm fascinated with them. And yes, I have seen cats. I've grown up with a lot of them.
Have you ever
Teresa saw a shark at the beach, I think, a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a big one though, but they have a lot of shark attacks in Florida, but it's small sharks.
I was down in New York City at the Canarsie Pier in 2012. There was a couple fins in the water. I couldn't tell you what kind of sharks they were, but they are Could have been lemons. But
So
yeah.
I don't know if exactly this is said in humor, but I think the implication is that it attacked the orca. The orca somehow survived long enough to get away, but died and was washed up on the beach. So
basically the tide brought it in.
yeah.
And then you also got to deal with high tide, low tide. Look at the sand that they're standing on.
There's also
from a tide.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
It's also hinted that the shark in one kills an orca because they hear the orca cries at night, and Quinn starts singing "Farewell and Adieu."
Possibly.
Yeah, it's kind of hinted because that's when he starts singing the song when someone's about to die, basically when he's being dark humored.
And I do know that some of the shots of these shark actually swimming are like a real shark. They were taken by 2 Australian divers.
Yeah, you can tell by the nose.
So basically, they use actual footage of real sharks for the movement shots because they could not convincingly achieve them with the mechanical ones. So much like the first film, they did this with the second ones, basically. So that's real footage. So, and this is a scene where I take the quote from, basically. Sharks don't take things personally, Mr. Brody. Because Brody's the one that says to her, measure the mouth radius, and she's like, of the whale? It's like, no, the shark. So imagine finding this on the beach. So that's the expert there. She's only really in here for like one scene, so I wouldn't even necessarily call her a Hooper replacement. So because she basically comes in from one scene, gives her a little expertise. She's the one that the mayor called in.
Really good actress, actually.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, again, serviceable. She's fine for the scene, but she's definitely not a Hooper replacement, which is I'm fine
I'm trying
with.
to remember what movie she played in aside from Jaws 2. I've seen her in.
I can go back. I can look up the actress.
Jaws 2 cast.
All cast and crew.
Lorraine Gary with red hair is freaky.
Yeah, I think she looks better as a blonde.
Yep. Brooke Peters, I think was her name. No.
Brooke Peters was
yeah.
The screaming one.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's the expert's name? I can't remember what her name is.
What's his name mentions it in the next scene.
Yeah. Hold on, let me see if I can skip. Whale's mouth. Because he says I call in the experts. Because the mayor says he talked to her. Because he says what am I, an ass?
Yeah. When you called me, I called her.
Yeah. Called Elkins and her boss. I knew, it's like, what is her name?
Elkins. Looking for it right now. Not finding it at all.
Dr. Elkins. Colin Wilcox Paxton.
There it is. Yep. All right. Now I'm going to look up her IMDb.
Yeah. She wasn't in a lot.
I could have sworn I've seen her somewhere.
Well, she was in quite a bit, but a lot of it was TV.
Yeah.
A lot of it was TV. So, because I'd have to look at per episodes, because she was in a Twilight Zone episode, but I'd have to click on the episode link.
To Kill a Mockingbird.
Number
I
12
saw
looks
that
just like you. I've seen that one, but I don't remember her character. Fugitive, the FBI, Road West. Yeah, a lot of TV. Or made for TV type movies.
Yeah.
He's in Catch 22.
Foxfire, Wildflower, Fluke. I remember the movie Fluke.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good movie. Heartwarming, heartbreaking, all of it.
She really didn't start doing most movies until after Jaws 2.
She died in 2009. She was born in 1935. Damn.
Mm-hmm.
So she was already old in this one.
Yeah. So anyway.
Yeah.
Hey, Megatron. Yep.
But yeah, this scene here really shows how he is just anxious to get the heck up out of there to be with his wife.
Mm-hmm.
Because you see that it's just you see that it's drawn right out. It's just, he just doesn't have it. He just wants to be gone.
Yeah, you could, like, your eyes commenting, like, how his hair is a little bit in disarray as if he's been under stress before the scene, which I'm not surprised because the actor is basically in his real life is under stress because his wife at this time has cancer and he's wanting to get his scenes shot and done with so he can be by her side. So the actor himself is under stress like the entire time he's filming his scenes.
Yep.
Like he's wanting to, okay, let's get this over and done with. You can kind of tell in how he delivers his lines and so forth. So he's pretty much like, again, he wants to be done with it. So, but like I said, like, you know, it's like I wish. So we're kind of like skipping through scenes. We can't exactly talk about everything.
Yeah.
The
next, let's see here.
I know, like,
scene
Brody finds the burned body of the sailor. He tells the deputy to get the pictures developed from the diver's camera. Then he finds out that Hooper's on the Aurora, which is a callback to
the first one.
And this is
he's also filling his bullets with cyanide.
Yeah.
Oh, Teresa tagged us in a shark video. The Florida thing I mentioned, probably.
I'm trying to get a shot of Brody on the shark tower.
Yeah. Your husband here.
And your husband's here. And like, so basically Brody's on a shark. I like, you know, it's like, what's he doing? His job.
Yeah.
I love how Ellen is. She supports him, and like she's still doing her job at the same time. She still supports her husband. So whenever Mrs. Taft asks her, that's like his job. His job is to keep the citizens safe, the citizens of Amity safe. She knows, like, she knows deep down that, like, you know, it's like he believes there's a shark out there. Like, he has essentially tunnel vision. That's what he's looking for. But she's like,
well, look at the shape of the bluefish in that particular moment.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, but that's an elongated shape.
Which, again, don't blame him. He should not have fired his weapon on the beach. But at the same time, it's like you don't blame him because you see the shape and it literally looks like a shark just under the surface of the water.
He points the gun at a kid though as it's running past.
I think he should not have done that. Like that was.
At this point, he is panicking because it's like, I don't want this happening right now. I want to kill this thing and be done with it.
Yes.
And believe me, folks, if you're soaking your bullets or if you're tipping your bullets with sodium cyanide, and you're shooting a bunch of bluefish, which then the birds eat the bluefish, you're actually committing a heavy felony.
Now, but birds eating them are gulls, so it's perfectly fine. I have a long time blood feud with the gulls.
Yes.
I'm not kidding. It's a feud.
Yeah, I know. I'm aware.
So this is the shot we're talking about, folks, where it's like
what would you say that is?
As a moviegoer, I'm saying I don't blame him, because I saw it when I watched this initially. I thought it was the shark too, because I was like, "Holy shit!" He's actually sees it, and like it's actually coming for the swimmers, the beachgoers.
Yep.
But find out that he ultimately panicked, jumped to conclusions, and it's just a school of bluefish.
And everybody's looking up at him like, "Hey, look, it's a crazy man ringing a bell."
Yeah. So, and then when they look at him after he's like telling people to go back in the water, I mean, like, you just made these people panic. You've just made these people panic and pointed your gun ostensibly at the water, but at the same time pointing it at kids and adults as they're running from the water to the beach, which you do not do.
Oh yeah, he would have been fired for that act alone in today, because not only that, he would have also probably been arrested.
So yeah, I get upset, a little bit upset too, that everybody turns their back on him, but at the same time, it's like it's one of the situations where it's one of the situations where it's like you've just witnessed a man go crazy on the beach, and this is a man who's supposed to be protecting them and who pointed a gun at people essentially. It's one of those situations where in your mind is like you want to trust him. He's the chief of police and so forth, but at the same time, it's like, can you? Just given his behavior on the beach. So I kind of understand that. I do agree with you to an extent, Trey, but I kind of understand where these people are coming from. So.
And I love how that the mother is like, "What's that man doing up in that tower?" Oh, they're coming up with all sorts of bullshit excuses. It's a shark tower.
Yeah, the girl is like, it's like, even the girl knows it's a shark tower.
Yeah, I saw one in Florida. He's looking for sharks. So no. He's bird watching.
Yeah, it's like, even when I heard that, I was like, oh, come on, even I wouldn't buy that shit.
It's like, dude, you are selling a shitty diaper to a first-time ma, and she ain't buying it.
Yes. It's understandable. We as the audience know he's right, but in reality, we'd all be the beach people. Exactly. It's like, it's like reality would be that they've just witnessed the chief of police go crazy on the beach.
I mean, it's because I'm so movie oriented that if this scene actually did play out in reality, I would actually have the thought process of what was this man seeing that would cause him to act in such a degree.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I would also keep basically one part of my mind like, okay, is this guy actually going nuts, or is there a legitimate reason why he's doing it? I would be split on it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's what I'm saying. I kind of understand why the people acted the way they did.
Yeah,
because I don't think they completely turned their back on him. It's like they wanted to believe him, or at least the people who knew him wanted to believe him. But at the same time, it's like you're looking at his behavior, like in that moment.
It's a very erratic scene, and this dude just unloaded and was already getting ready to reload to do it again. So and not to mention, look how he was doing. He was waving he already pulled his gun and is saying, "Get the hell out of the way." Yeah. It's like, oh my God, dude, you are literally freaking everybody out. So you call it, or inciting a panic is actually also a crime.
Yes. And hey, gaming, good to see you. I'm with Trey. I did like Sean helping his dad. Like when everybody's walking away, Sean knelt down and helped his father pick up the casings.
Yep.
So Sean is a good kid.
Sean believes in his dad.
It kind of harkens back to the first movie. Remember when Brody's sitting at the table and he's basically lost in thought,
completely improved.
Yeah, and his Sean, the younger son, is mimicking his movements.
Yep.
He kind of like looks at his dad as a hero.
Mm-hmm.
So he believes in his dad.
He loves his daddy.
So
where
what kind of upset me is when Ellen left. Like you knew that she wanted to stay and support her husband, but she still left with
What's his name? And it's like,
Yeah.
let's just not make it worse.
That
And
is
it's
not
like,
make it worse.
fuck you, get off me. That's my husband.
Yeah, that's what made me upset in this scene. Not so much the beachgoers, but her. Like, you know, I would have been like, you know, I would have been like, I probably wouldn't have said fuck off, but at the same time, I would have been like, you know, I would have made him like go with me and said like, you know, that's my husband. To translate is, don't fucking touch me. Like I'm like, you know.
Yeah.
So
I fully get it too. I would have been like, if it was my wife or whatever, I would have been like, yeah, I'm going to stand by my spouse. Mm-hmm. They need support. Unfortunately, they made a mistake, but I am standing by them through thick and thin.
Yeah.
She didn't do that.
Yeah. So that's the part that like made me upset when she left. Like I don't dislike the character because of that, but at the same time, I'm like I would have expected her, or at least in this regard, like to say in so many words that she was going to stay and support her husband.
She makes up for it later.
Yeah, I know she makes up for it later, but at the same time, it's like if anything in this scene,
yeah,
that's what like didn't make sense in terms of like characters. The beachgoers, I'm fine with. I can explain their behavior, but her, I'm like, all right. Yeah, like possibly the fault of the director. I'm not faulting the actress because she's going off of the script. So she's going off the script. But like, you know, like with Ms. Marmuse's, it's out of character. It was a little bit out of character for her.
A little bit. That's very much out of character.
Yeah, so I'm like, you know, it's like that's why I was like, you know, she wouldn't do that. Like knowing what we know of her character from the first movie and so forth, like she would not have allowed that to happen. So, but again, she makes up for it a bit later, in the film. So let's see. So I'm gonna try to get a shot of. So I'm gonna wait. This is developing. This is a picture that Brody takes. Now, me personally, if I had been Brody, I would have waited for the rest of the pictures to be developed.
Yeah.
Because maybe there might have been another shot that would have been better. I don't know. But
he just picked the first one and just left.
Yeah, so I'm like, I would have waited. If I'm going to criticize Brody in this instance, is yes, I see what you see. I can see that is the outline of a shark, but at the same time, it's like, well, maybe there would have been better pictures. You don't know. Not all the pictures were developed.
You could have easily saw like a fin or a tail or something from the other pictures because it was still taking pictures as these guys were getting slaughtered.
Yeah, as I pointed out, basically, it was still you see the flash. Like if you watch Jaws 2, for those who have not watched in chat who have not watched it for a while, as the camera is falling at the beginning of the film, you see the flash go off a few times. So for all we know, it did get a good shot of the shark. Maybe, like I said, maybe a fin, maybe a tail, maybe like a nice shot of the teeth. We don't know. So, but I think if I'm going to criticize him in this, it would have been that.
Yeah,
I agree. Probably emotion got him, but at the same time, I'm like,
at this point, he's obsessed.
At this point, after I've incited a panic on the beach, I would have said maybe I need to calm down a little bit because I believe I'm correct that there is a shark out there. So I got to step back and make sure that I have my proverbial ducks in a row before I present this evidence. Yeah. So,
well, at this point, he's looking for vindication, and this is to him his immediate shot at it because it is kind of very plain as day that is a shark's eye.
Yes. Which I can see. Like when I first saw the movie, I was like, what is he looking at? But I can see, yeah, that's a shark's eye right there.
Yeah. And it's like, guys, I've seen these freaking things up close. You'd think you'd trust me at least that far. Yes, I'm sorry about the panic, but come on now. But freaking Neil Diamond's asshole or big brother is only on the council, by the way, because he freaking came in and bought his way onto that
pretty much
committee.
Yeah, so money talks.
Yeah.
Actually.
And it's like, you're damn right it's your ass.
Yes.
It's like lens my ass, which is a callback to foreground my ass.
Yeah. I think he was starting to doubt himself and he just rushed to it, possibly. I mean, I'm saying it's still kind of relatively within character, but at the same time, again, just the one thing I would criticize him on, I would have waited. Jamie says he never watched Jaws. I would definitely give Jaws a go. All right, definitely give the first Jaws movie a watch.
Well, that one's a classic.
And
it's psychological horror.
Yes. And Jaws 2, what we're talking about tonight, in my opinion, is a solid sequel. It's not as good as the first movie, but it's a solid sequel that still pretty much holds up.
It really does.
You don't really need to watch past the second one.
Would you agree if I said that Jaws 2 plays like a slasher?
It does play more like a slasher because the body count is up. It's kind of like the slasher franchise.
Teens.
Yeah,
it's going for the teens.
But
it's like you bastards have been having sex too much.
Yeah, it's kind of like this. It follows the slasher rules essentially. So
yeah, because Tina and her boyfriend are about to get it on, and that's when the shark freaking hits them.
Yeah. So I've witnessed friends get eaten in real time. God damn it! Yeah, pretty much. Like again, you would think that maybe the counts would have been like, even if they don't entirely believe Brody, you would think that they would take a step back and say, well, maybe we need to give him this leeway because he did help us with our shark problem essentially in the first movie. And I know I'm being facetious when I describe it like that, but he did. He literally saved the town. So maybe give him the benefit of the doubt.
It's like, you guys should have gave me the fucking key to the city.
Yes. So he takes this picture, he sees it, and he immediately goes to this council meeting, and he had like the douche himself and basically these four that I have frozen basically look at the picture and don't see anything. They're like, is it seaweed? So it's like they're the ones, and I know she definitely was in the first one. That's Ms. Taft. And the one to the immediate left of the douche, I think he was in the first one as well. I don't quite recognize the
bald one is, I believe, Harry with the bad hat.
Okay.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Okay. So these three in the first movie, and he's the only new one, and then you have the mayor at the end of the table.
I mean, he automatically hates Brody on principle because he insulted his hat. It's like, that's one bad hat, Harry. Oh, fuck you, man.
Yeah, pretty much. But anyway, and this is essentially where I would say Brody and what's the douche's name? I can't remember what his name is.
Let me look it up.
I can't remember what his name is.
I got the Jaws 2 cast going. So
Peterson?
I know what it is, but I keep forgetting it.
It's Peterson, right? Like he goes by his last name Peterson.
Billy Vans or Joseph Mascalo, Len Peterson.
Yep. Yeah, because I don't want to keep calling him douche.
Yeah, but I am so freaking over the word douche.
They nearly come to blows.
Pretty much, because that dude's been kind of moving in on his wife since the beginning of the movie, and I love what he's like. Ellen, I wouldn't know what I would do without her. Really? Nor do I.
Yeah.
He's trying to he's like, that's my wife, jackass. Fuck off.
Hold on, his name is just douche now. I was saying, like, I can't keep calling him douche.
I mean, when I was watching Lucifer, and Lucifer calls the ex-husband of the detective he's partnered with, Detective Douche, and he's also named Dan, which is also my first name. I make no secret of that. Mm-hmm. And it's like my mom just calls me douche all the time. And it's like, I am so over that shit. Please stop.
Did you know that the Lucifer actor lost his hair?
No.
Yeah, now there will be hell to pay.
Oh my god.
Oh, jeez.
Why did I step into that one? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I'm so proud of myself.
Yes, you would be. Anyway, so I guess I love the scene because I would say basically Brody and Peterson nearly come to blows in this scene, and the mayor's trying to calm the situation.
Yep.
Which
But
is
also,
why,
look at what's her name.
Which is why I wish they kept the scene where, if anything, the mayor is at least in Brody's corner.
Yeah.
It's at least in Brody's corner.
Yep.
But I didn't see anything in trivia to say otherwise, so I'm assuming it's just time related, pretty much.
And what's her
the reason
name?
for editing the scene out.
Fritz Courtney. Looking at her expressive, or Taft, Mrs. Taft, just looking at her expression says it all. It's like, I want this man gone.
Yes.
She wanted him gone from the first movie.
Yeah. So his hands are tied. Basically. Yeah, I agree. But I wish they again would have shown him at least standing up for Brody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you have that in the deleted scene. They should have kept it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I can almost recite the whole dang thing. I'm willing to overlook this assault of my character against me, but this man is clearly unhinged, and they're talking about whether or not to vote to dismiss him, and everybody's like all in favor. Everybody raises their hand except for the mayor, and he's like all opposed, and the mayor slowly raises his hand and looks over at Len, and it's like, I'm sorry, I want to keep him on. He's good.
Yeah.
Charlie Stevenson in the chat brings up
which is what was in the book.
Yeah, it was in the book.
Cooper. So.
And there was a mobster plot in there too.
Yeah.
Basically, the middle of the book is kind of a mess.
Which is essentially what they take from the book for this movie, essentially, because I haven't read the book. I'm going off the trivia, and that is a part of the plot of the book for the first movie was the reason why they wanted to keep the beaches open and the developers is because they needed to pay back the mafia.
Well, the mayor did. He was doing some real estate shenanigans.
Yeah, and that's the reason why. And I'm really glad that they did not include that in the movie because I'm like,
it added nothing.
It added nothing. It just made the plot convoluted.
Oh hell yes! But if they ever made a TV show, they could have fleshed out Amity Island and a lot more, and added that plot bit as well.
Maybe.
I'm praying that nobody from Hollywood watches this because Stig just gave them an idea.
Yeah, I know.
And then it happens and go get the Norwegian.
Yes, maybe
find that Norwegian.
Maybe I could see it, but at the same time I'm like, nah.
Because they did it, they've done TV shows based on other horror movies now. Though they did a Scream show, and they did.
They've been wanting to do a Jaws remake, and thank God they said no.
Can you imagine that? Jesus Christ!
I mean, I remember doing a video about it when I heard it's like Jaws may be getting a remake in it, and I just put up as a thumbnail the one from Jaws: The Revenge jumping out of the water, and it's like, don't remake me.
Yes, there was What was I gonna say? Oh, I was telling my chats that if they ever wanted to capitalize in the horror movie genre, just straight adapt Hans Christian Andersen fairy tales. Those are horror movies in themselves.
I mean, Peter Benchley's movie or books they have great stories to them. You got the Beast, you got the Creature, the Beast, and Jaws, and they all work. It's just they're so fucking corny in some ways too, and they're the everyman as well.
Did you ever watch The Deep? It's based on the Peter Benchley movie. It has Nick Nolte and Robert Shaw is in it.
I mean, Peter Benchley book. I think it's been a long while.
I mean, I'm looking forward to watching the Meg 2.
But I think they somehow, I would imagine they'd somehow make it about global warming. But I believe, I did not watch this, but as soon as I found out that they were doing had the environmentalist bent to it, I didn't watch it. But the Day the Earth Stood Still remake somehow made it about the environment and how humans are bad with planet Earth. I was like,
Hooper having
nope, I'm out.
Yeah, that was totally a thing in the first book, Trey. Hooper having an affair with Ellen Brody.
Yeah.
So. And Hooper didn't make it.
You get Guillermo del Toro to make these fairy tale films. Holy shit. Can you imagine his touch with Hans Christian Andersen's tales?
Wow. They have made some horror movies now about Norwegian folklore. Probably hard to find on your end though, but they were pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And for God's sake, you guys need to review Dead Snow 1 and 2.
Maybe it's some point over the winter time.
Yeah.
It's one of the probably some of the best zombie movies made in the last few decades. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah. So I'm gonna skip some scenes. Basically,
he gets fired
to fire Brody. Again, the mayor's the only one that wants to. It's essentially in his corner. Says I want to keep him. He's good, but he's outvoted. And then you have Michael, the older son, who's thinking with the wrong head in this scene, who's convinced by Donna to go against his father's wishes. Decide to go to the lighthouse the next day, which is where a lot of the slasher-esque elements come to play, because that's when the shark goes after the teenagers.
Yeah, it's that specific channel that the shark has been haunting, so it's another territoriality gig.
So
that has a war crime.
So not really too much to say about the scene. Pretty much that's Michael's essentially grounded, but he's again thinks with the wrong head and decides to go against his father. Go and take his boat and then go with his friends to the lighthouse the next day.
Yeah.
So I'm skipping scenes, and then his brother Sean.
I love that. Freaking blackmails him.
Yeah, blackmails him pretty much.
Good kid. Good kid.
It's like Michael. Yeah, right next to the parents' door, and he looks over. There's
no way that was gonna wake him up anyway, because the parents were drunk.
Like this is like the one diver here,
right?
A potential victim. Like he gets away from the shark, but he ends up having an embolism because he surfaced too fast.
Yeah, he freaked out.
Which is that happens to Andy in the book. So, I think it was Andy.
Huh. I haven't read the book, so I don't know.
He's one of the divers.
They show him that he's he does go with it like this dive group, but he doesn't join them this time.
Yeah.
So.
Well, he's having fun with everybody else, So.
He bites his mask hard. That's where you see the blood. Yes, he was almost a victim. He was nearly a victim, but he got away. But unfortunately, he surfaced too fast and had an embolism. But the fact that he bit into his mask when they were observing him before they take him to the hospital, they said something down there made him panic. It's it should have been for the because I think the council members were around. I can't remember, but would have been oh shit, something's happening. What could possibly be down there to make a seasoned diver panic like that.
Must have been something big.
Yes, like Brody. Yeah, I'm with right. Brody knew instantly, but everyone else is like, what would make a seasoned diver panic? Like, what is a possibility? Just throwing that out there. But anyway, like Tina and Eddie are, well, Eddie's the first victim, pretty much. But they decide basically to
I do
drop
like
anchor of sorts, pretty much.
so they can get it on.
Yeah, so they can get it on.
I do like the death grip that he rips a piece of wood off of his boat. You could see that it was broken, and that they just re-glued it. And then he just, when the shark pulls him back under, he just rips the piece off.
Yeah, and like, I wish I could play this scene because Tina's panicking. Like he gets knocked out of the boat. Like I think like the shark. I want to say based on how the shark hits the boat that it did not realize the boat was there because it wasn't moving. Sharks, like, you know, when you harken back to what the experts say, they use like sonar, radar, and so forth. They're like attracted to movement and so forth and sound. So the boat wasn't moving. So I don't think if the shark hadn't hit the boat, it would not have known it was there.
Yeah.
But it hit the boat and it's like, oh shit, a victim. Pretty much.
It's like, ooh, food.
Yes.
Well, maybe I can shake it again.
Yeah, so when it realized that, it knocked Eddie out and somehow dragged the boat with it. So Tina's still in the boat, and like Eddie's now a distance away, so she's yelling at him to swim because she's saying, holy shit, there's a shark. Go swimming in bacon suits. You are more than welcome, Jiraiya, to go do that. It also shows how powerful the shark is, yes. So I'm saying, like, you know, if the shark had not hit the boat initially, it would not have realized it was there, because that would have kind of saved Eddie, at least initially, would have like kept Eddie and Tina safe because the boat wasn't moving. But unfortunately, Eddie is no more. Eddie does not make it. So he's dragged up to the boat, or close to the boat. And this is the part that he said, like, it was ripped off. You can see, like, yeah. It's cut.
Would you say it was edible?
Well, to the shark, yes. To the shark, yes. So of the teenagers, Eddie is the first victim, and Tina literally goes into shock. Where when the next time we find her, she's in the fetal position.
And she's saying, "Make it go away, mommy. Make it go away."
Yes.
She literally reverts to a little girl.
Yes,
and it works because it does go away.
Yep.
Yes. So yeah, maybe the burn affected the shark sonar or sense a bit. Not really, because it's still able to find the other teenagers because they're moving.
Yeah.
Yes, sonar is at the tip of the shark's nose.
Yes,
and it's extremely sensible. So if you get bitten, that's where you have to punch. Yes. Right at the tip.
You mean sensitive, not sensible.
Yeah, sensitive. I was slurring.
This is. But there is a bit of trivia about sharks here that I found kind of interesting. Hold on. Where where is it? Oh, fucking hell. Show all. Why don't you show all the trivia? Jesus. Something about like the shark's senses and why it would have been attracted to the cable junction at the end. Because yes, Brody like uses sound to attract it, but there's something about it that would have attracted the shark anyway. I know I read it in the trivia. I'm trying to find it, and where is it? Let me see if it's in the spoilers. Okay. At the end of the film, okay, this is like technically in the spoilers part of the trivia, but the shark bites a high voltage cable and is electrocuted. Sharks have ampullae of Lorenzini, which are basically special sensing organs called electroreceptors, which form a network of jelly-filled pores. These ampullae allow sharks to sense electric fields in the water. Of all animals, sharks are the most sensitive to electrical fields, with a threshold of sensitivity as low as 5 nanovolts per centimeter, or equivalently 5 billionths of a volt measured in a centimeter long ampulla. Chief Brody hits the cable repeatedly with the paddle to get the shark's attention, but the shark is undoubtedly attracted to the cable's strong electric field. So, the shark would have gone for that area anyway. So, that's why I find sharks fascinating. So it would have gone for the cable, like at least close to the cable anyway. But in the movie, he's luring it with sound.
Yeah.
So. But anyway, so Eddie is the first to go. And it's like where the chief like follows the. I love when I swear I do the same thing in my car. When the truck pulls in front of in Brody's vehicle, when he's following the ambulance, and he's like, "Get out of the way! Get out of the way!" I do that too. I don't know what it is, but I do that too. I throw my hands up like that in frustration, like, oh my fucking god, this idiot!
I prefer the training day method. Hey, shut the fuck up and wait. Just pull a gun on him. It's like, okay, I'll wait.
The council show up when Tina's taken to the ambulance. Yeah. So follow the ambulance, and that's when they told about the diver.
Bite
and
reflex.
Brody knows. Brody senses like he knows that had to been a shark down there that made him panic. Otherwise, why would he surface as quickly as he did? So.
And the second he heard that his kids Michael went out, it's like, oh fuck it, we're both going, mom and dad.
Mom and dad, and the deputy, because he's like, you're fired pretty much. You can't be doing this. He's like, oh shit, they can't fire both of us. Move over, and he gets on the boat pretty much. So all three of them head out. He's like, you can't fire both of us.
When they find Tina, I gotta say, I literally get emotional in that scene because she sells it so freaking well.
Yeah, I'm trying
the shock that she is in.
Oh, this is the shot that they're going towards the lighthouse, and they decide to go past it.
Yeah, it's like,
because essentially this probably saying, okay, this is the shots basically. They come across her boat, and it looks empty, but she's curled up. See if I can get a shot. That's where Brody finds her. She's curled up there.
Yeah.
And she's shivering. She's in shock. She's in the fetal position. She can't speak. The only thing that she can get out is one word, and that's shark.
It's still there. It's still there. It's still there. And they're like, what's still there? And then she just screams that word out. It's like, oh my God, man. This is it's like, how can you not believe that this woman just suffered this?
Yeah, this is probably, I think, in terms of the acting in this movie, the best scene.
Yes.
As far as acting goes.
I mean, that's award-worthy selling there.
Yeah. I like Roy Scheider. He does a good job as Brody. Lorraine Gary and so forth. I'm not saying anyone does a bad job, but this actress had to sell the scene that she's just witnessed her boyfriend get eaten by a shark. And she thinks it's still there. She's living with this in the field position with the belief that the shark is circling the boat.
Mm-hmm.
So she had this actress had to sell this and she did. Yeah, she sold it. Yeah, she.
Yeah.
You would if you did not know this was a movie, you would believe that this woman was actually found after witnessing her boyfriend get eaten. She sells the shock, and I love how, first she hugs, when she realizes that she's being saved, and she sees Chief Brody, she hugs him, and then he kind of passes her off to the wife, and she really clings on to Mrs. Brody because remember she's make it go away, mommy. She's reverting back to a child.
Maternal.
Yeah, maternal. She wants it's the motherly comfort. And she really holds on to Mrs. Brody.
Yep.
This is where she what's still there? And that's when she screams, shark.
And there's your confirmation because Ellen just looks right up at it and it's like, oh my God.
Yes. Yeah, so and that's when Brody's like, like he uses the horn signal for this boat to come get them. So he basically takes the police boat to go get his son and his friends.
Yeah. And I love it. He's like, where are they? You gotta go, or they're about or this amount of degrees off your star. Don't give me that shit. Point.
Yes, I love that. Don't give me that shit. Point. He's like,
There.
Like, all right, I got it. All right,
I love that.
That's what I would be like, Brody. Like, don't give me the nautical shit. Just point.
Same here.
No one tells off the douche. It's great. Yeah, like when she finally stands by her man, pretty much she tells him off.
Yep. My husband and son are still out there. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Boy, instead of my husband.
So there's like pause, but at the same time there's movement if you think about it, because he's pumping his boat,
which is a rhythmic sound.
It's a rhythmic sound. So that's why. So the shark finds him because he's doing that.
Is he also supposed to be? Is he supposed to be doing like Red October, Sean Connery or something? Because he's like, this will be our finest hour.
I think so. He's like quote like he's like they call him Bly, so I know he's essentially quoting. Like he's acting like he's mutiny on the bounty and things like that. But then like he sounds like Sean Connery at one point, so it's like
he was also reading a David Benchley book earlier.
Yeah,
I was trying to see the title of that book. I couldn't see the title. I thought it would be in the trivia, but I couldn't. I didn't find anything in the trivia I read.
And not only that, if you look at his hair, that dude is still clearly mourning Elvis.
Yeah, well, it's the late 70s. When was Christine? Christine was like 1983, wasn't it? About 6 years later or 5 years later?
I think so. I don't know.
Yeah. So this would have been before Christine. And he still looks young. Yeah, this is 1978, but Christine is like, what, 1983? I want to say. Because Christine was in the 80s. And this is the actor that was in Christine. He's the one that plays the guy that buys the car. The possessed car, and like eventually kind of like goes crazy. But this so 79 Christine. I knew it was before Christine. I thought Christine was in the 80s, so 79 was Christine. So this is before Christine.
Yeah, this is 1 year before Christine, by the way.
Wait, hold on. But so Tracy, yes, am I right? Is it 83 or am I wrong? Because I could have sworn Christine was in the 80s.
Yeah, Christine is in the 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, yeah. So this is 5 years prior, and he doesn't look like he's aged that much. He actually kind of looks in a way younger in Christine than he does here. So, yeah, but this is like that. Christine is the only other one. Only other. Okay, so he was in Back to School too. All right, yeah. So I've only seen him like in 1 or 2 other movies, pretty much. So I'd have to read the book. I haven't read the book version of Jaws 2, but knowing what I know of how book adaptations operate, then it's different from the final version of the movie.
It's worse than the movie.
That's the actor that played Arnie. That's the actor there. Keith Gordon played Arnie in Christine, the kid that buys the car.
So it's one of those exceptions where the book is better than the movie. Or the movie is better than the book, rather.
Yeah.
The movie is better than the book.
Well, in the case of Jaws 1 as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I would say also Jurassic Park the movie is better than the book.
I never read it.
Trust me. It's no like I'm fine with Michael Crichton overall as an author, but Jurassic Park the movie was a lot better than the book.
Yeah, I tried reading the book. I couldn't get past like the first couple chapters. It's like, wait, this isn't even like the fucking movie. Why am I even reading this?
Yeah, so movie's better.
Yeah. I mean, there are the exceptions where the movies are better than the books, but most of the case is the books are better than the movies. But these are exceptions.
Yeah, generally. Stephen King, books based on Stephen King movies based on Stephen King books overall typically are better than his books. He's he's the one author where it's like no matter what, the movie version is going to be better than the book.
Especially Silver Bullet.
Yes. My exception is, and I'll probably anger people in the chat, is The Shining. I'm not saying the book necessarily is good, but I think that Kubrick's adaptation of The Shining is overrated, primarily because of the poor casting choice of Jack Nicholson. So sorry, Jack Nicholson was miscast in that role. He looked like he was ready to fucking snap before he got to the hotel. I'm just saying. So like, did not buy it one way that he was slowly going crazy. But anyway, that's just my thoughts on The Shining. Anyway, back to Jaws 2. So basically, this is how the shark is able to find them because of what this I almost called him Arnie pretty much, but what he's doing here, because he has a rhythmic pumping, because he's trying to get water out of his boat, so he's pumping it, and that's causing vibrations in the water, and that tells the shark that there's something there.
And Mike gets knocked unconscious, which leads
this is
to
all I can do. So yeah, I basically trigger a lot of people when I say that.
Which leads to one of the best cinematography sequences.
Yeah. So basically, something pops, and this is when the shark comes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like play, stop, because of the rhythmic pop.
Yeah.
So these kids get knocked out of their. So he. Let's see.
That water is cold.
Yeah. So, and then knocks this one here. I wish I could play the sequence because it's like basically it's like one after another. Like his boat he gets knocked out of his boat, he swims to this other one, and his movement, the shark follows and realizes, oh, there's another thing here. Boom! Gets this one to capsize, and like just like one after another with these vessels. Except for one boat. Except for one of the boats that like somehow does not get tangled up and everything, and that's the boat with the Napoleon Dynamite looking kid, the one nerd, and another guy. So
they end up having to save Michael's ass before he literally gets chopped.
When Mike falls here, he gets knocked out and falls, which again, in a sense, saves him because he's not moving. So the shark doesn't even realize that Michael's in the water, unless the shark bumps into Michael, he doesn't know that Michael's there because Michael's not moving. So him getting knocked out is kind of like a blessing in disguise at this point because of how sharks operate.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I wish I could play this because it was like kind of a domino effect. Like, I don't know how they choreographed this scene, but it worked in a sense. So, but anyway, so yeah, he gets knocked off. So the shark ends up swimming away. So, yeah, this is like these guys rescue him, and them moving towards Mike is what draws the shark back to Mike. So, because they're rowing towards him, and I love how she starts panicking. I'm like, you just kind of sent the shark Mike's way.
Yeah,
by having them go get him.
Well, not only that, the splash, because it takes them a while to get Mike in, so the splashing is also attracting the shark.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Probably tastes like Swedish fish anyway. Yes, actually, I kind of like Swedish fish. So, my only issue is when they leave with Michael, they should have taken Sean. I agree, but so they don't.
Michael was hurt, so it's like
kind
of immediate.
Yeah, but they could have taken Sean with them. They could have kind of swung up to where Margie is and taken Sean with them. But at the same time, it's it's one of those situations where it's I agree with that, but at the same time, I get they're in the tunnel vision focus of we need to get Mike help. So they're kind of not thinking 2 steps ahead or anything at this point, and saying, "Oh, maybe we should take Sean back with us." No, their focus is get Mike, get him back. So, yeah. So yeah. So they save Mike barely, and there's a shark.
Yeah.
So they're almost rescued. So basically, the harbor pilot finds them, and one of the best scenes I think in movie history, not just monster movie history, but movie history, and that is when the shark literally pulls a helicopter down into the water.
In the Shark or the Jaws Unleashed game, you can jump the shark out of the water and grab the chopper and drag it down.
Mm-hmm.
It is so awesome.
Yeah. So again, what draws the shark is the ripples in the water, like the movement of the water caused by the rotors, because the rotors are still spinning. So the shark is going, "Oh, another victim." So again, in one of the original scripts, this guy was supposed to survive. This guy was supposed to survive by finding an air bubble. So basically, the helo flips, all right, and he's able to survive by finding like this air bubble in the canopy. They obviously take it out of the movie because we're left with the impression that he did not survive for obvious reasons.
There's also a deleted scene of the shark getting into the chopper.
Oh my god.
Yep, there is. I do remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so again, I wish I could play it, but so he gets out. So
then the shark goes back after them.
Yeah. So starts the motor back up. He's ready to take off, and
hello.
Tow them. And this is here for those who are joining late. This man here is an actual helicopter pilot. So, but this here is a prototype, like a prop, essentially, that he built himself out of salvaged parts. So when he flies in, he's flying the actual helicopter, but for the capsize scene, he actually built this. He actually built this with him, and he went down with it. There were like divers and so forth around to help if necessary. But he actually went down
with the ship.
Yeah, but he actually went down with it. Like he built this and went down with it.
Yep. Like a true captain.
Yes. So he this guy is not an actor. This guy is not an actor. They hired him because he is a helicopter pilot and they needed shots, and they're like, "Yo, like we'll keep you on as the harbor patrol pilots." So, and yeah. So again, yeah, he was like, "This is this is the full scale model he built and went down with." Let me see if what it says. See, I know there was something else pretty much that
I believe the Aussies would call that a gyrocopter.
Despite not being a professional actor or experienced stuntman, helicopter pilot Jerry M. Baxter, that's the man in this scene, nevertheless agreed to sit inside the prop helicopter with an oxygen bottle and rescue divers on hand as it capsized into the water, thus eliminating the need for a stunt double or dummy. So literally the captain went down with the ship, as we said. So he went down with the ship.
Yeah, also the long-haired blonde girl, I like how they show that a shark's skin is abrasive in this one.
Oh yeah,
because she actually gets rubs up against Brusette and ends up getting injured because of it.
Yes. Again, her stopping essentially saved her as well.
Yeah.
Because where I actually first learned about the sharks, how the sharks attack their prey, like what they use was actually in, I believe it's Jackie Chan's First Strike. I believe I'm remembering correctly, but there's a scene where it's like in an aquarium of sorts, and he's fighting these bad guys, and he ends up in a shark tank.
Oh,
And
geez.
he was previously told by one of the other characters, I think the sister of this guy he's trying to find, that like how sharks operate, movement and blood, essentially. It's like basically just sum it up, movement and blood. And that's where I learned it first. Because during the fight and the shark would appear, he'd like stop and just stay still, and the shark would kind of like swim past him.
There's a video of Jackie Chan and his daughter watching all of his stunts, and she just starts tearing up as he does, because it's like, oh my God, my father went through all this shit.
Yeah.
Jackie Chan is basically the Tom Cruise of of China, folks.
Yeah. So,
boy, Soul Assassin, look at you go with finding all this shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm saying it's So anyway, he goes down. Like the shark drags him down. Like literally drags the helicopter into the water.
It's like, I just want to play. Why aren't you gonna play with me?
I think
so do comedy covers for these things.
This is when Ellen tells scene where she tells the douche off pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah,
she just did tell him off, and it's like, yeah, I got nothing to that because I am kind of an asshole, and I'm never gonna get a piece of that.
No. Anyway, so basically, okay, I skipped over Margie's death. Basically, Margie was the one that allowed Sean to go with her, and there's a part during the scene when the shark goes after the helicopter, the kids get knocked into the water. Sean gets knocked into the water. Margie dives in to save him, get him back up onto the boat, and she's eaten. So
right
she's
in front of him.
Yeah, right in front of Sean. So you have the helicopter pilot get attacked, then you have Margie die. So at this point, you have the two divers, the water skier, the woman in the boat, Eddie, the helicopter pilot, and Margie.
The shark looks pure evil when it eats her, just because it just when it comes out of the water, or rather right under the surf.
Yeah. So
hey kids, want to see a dead body?
Yeah, she was the final besides the shark, she was the final death. So basically, this is the scene where I said Andy says, "I'm gonna break your ass," pretty much. But he steps up, and he he basically takes it upon himself to protect Sean.
Yeah. Well, Michael's not there, so
yeah, Michael's not there, so he steps up to protect Sean because Michael's injured. He's gone, and you can tell he's getting upset with Sean. He's not trying not to, but at the same time, it's he needs Sean to grab the rope. He needs him to okay, kid, you have to grab the rope.
Yep. You got to snap out of it and pay attention.
So yeah, he ties it around. I love when they fall when Larry falls into the water and immediate panic mode ensues. So get him up. Yeah. So
Cable Junction.
Okay, so I want to just scroll to the final act, pretty much literally the final part, because this is when Brody finds them, and he has his showdown with the shark.
Oh yeah.
He's about ready to tow them. Shark comes, which he panics and guns the boat, pretty much, which basically beaches the boat. So he has to get the life raft from the police cruiser onto the ocean. And this is a bit of trivia that I read that makes sense. All right, makes sense because of how the shark dies. how the shark dies in the first movie and so forth. Come on, if I could spell. Where is it? Come on.
What, did it stop working?
No, it just I'm trying. I do Control F to find stuff, and it's
Oh.
Let's see something. Let's see. No, it's how the shark dies. Basically, like there's like scenes like, in each of the movies that alludes to how the shark is going to die. Like in the first movie, like Hooper Chest like reprimands Brody for nearly hitting the air tanks.
Oh, it's when Hendrix and the old guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm saying the first movie where Hooper like reprimands Brody about the tanks and
screw around with these things that's gonna blow
how
up.
how he ultimately ends up killing the shark, and that is because there's a tank in the shark's mouth.
Yeah.
Hendrix and the deputy find the power line, which is how the shark dies, and and it follows the pattern in the third and fourth movie. So like foreshadowing. I was trying to find a bit of trivia about that, but each of the movie has a bit of foreshadowing in them of how the shark is going to die. And in this case, the power line.
Except the fourth one.
Well, it says the fourth one. Hold on, I found it. I did say there's something in the fourth one. It did foreshadow.
About ramming it into it, or
I'm trying to find a bit of trivia. I'm trying to find a word that would. Come on. Where is it? Jaws 4. Trying to find it. Like, there's a lot of trivia on this page for this. Come on, I know I read it here. I know Jaws 4 was mentioned. Come on. Okay, in all four Jaws films, a reference is made earlier in the film to how the shark is going to die. In Jaws, Hooper warns Brody about the air tank blowing up if you screw around with it. Here, Hendrix and the old man find the power line, which later electrocutes the shark. In Jaws 3D, an argument ensues about Philip Fitzroy's using grenades. And in Jaws the Revenge, Jake is working on a transmitter that sends out high-frequency signals.
Yep.
So there is a bit of foreshadowing in the fourth one.
Yeah.
But there it is. But anyway, this is pretty much the final showdown of Brody and the shark, because Brody remembers what the expert said, and that is sharks are attracted to sounds. A little bit of trivia I read earlier that the shark would have been attracted to the electrical field anyway, but for the purpose of the movie, he hits the power cable, which draws the shark to him. And I love how the teenagers are panicking because they're like, "What are you doing?" He gets up onto the raft and kind of shimmies his way down the cable and hits the cable, causing it to vibrate underwater.
Yep. She's the one that got tagged by the skin of the shark.
So they're confused. I love how all the actors here are confused because why would you draw the shark to you? So I love when he says open wide, which kind of
say
back to the first one. Yes, kind of alludes back to the first one, like when he's trying to get the shark to shoot the air tank in the shark. smile, like open wide, like it kind of alludes to back to what he says in the first one. He's like, say ah.
Open wide. Say ah.
Yes. Let me just see if I can come on, because that's like his last line to it. Say ah, and then that's when the shark. Boom. And pretty much that is the final act, ladies and gentlemen, because the movie essentially, after the shark dies, the movie essentially ends with Brody
Going over to his son.
Yeah, and that's when the credits roll.
Yeah. They made me go with them. Right.
Yeah, sure they did. So. But anyway. So, that is it. That is Jaws 2, ladies and gentlemen.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, the credits pretty much start rolling. Yeah, so like you assume that he radioed, or at least, the very least, the deputy knew essentially where to go because they rescued Tina.
Yeah.
Oh, and I should say, like the two with Michael would have told people at on the shore where the others were heading. So
yeah.
So this is essentially like the end of the movie, essentially. So yeah, it's like, as far as the sequel goes, it's a solid sequel. It is a solid sequel. It doesn't pass Jaws at all. Like, it's a bit lower in score than Jaws, I would say, but still decent.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, yeah, that is Jaws 2. And then we can't, went for like 2.5 hours. And that's even without going into every scene in this movie, because there would have been a lot to cover.
It's ones and twos, folks. It's a great conversation.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, so I'm going to come up with the ones and twos for next month. I am saving Halloween 1 and 2 for October for obvious reasons.
Nice.
Halloween 2 has Hendrix in it from Jaws.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm
coroner or something.
Yeah, so I'm saving Halloween 1 and 2 for October. So I'm going to come up with the ones and twos for August and September. So.
All right. So.
I know Trey's like cough scream 1 and 2. There's so many 1s and 2s out there.
I already know what I'm doing for October's or one of October's singles.
Mm-hmm. Like, Douche was my favorite character. Like, he's just known as Douche now.
I mean, he should have also been one to get ripped up, but oh well.
Yeah, but anyway, so I'm fine. I'm fine with it. He lost his chance pretty much. But anyway, so
yeah,
that is these ones and twos for this week, ladies and gentlemen. It was Jaws, or this month, Jaws and Jaws 2. So if you have not watched those movies, highly recommend watching Jaws. Jaws 2, really, unless you want to watch for the memes and the lulz, you don't need to watch Jaws 3D or Jaws 4. So. But anyway, again, thank you to everyone in the chat for hanging out with us, and thank you to my co-hosts for this evening, Orange Hat Reviews and Steve Kenobi. Again, yep. Orange Hat, let everybody know where they can find you and all that fun stuff.
Well, you can find me tomorrow on my channel and Mara with us as we kick off the Thursday singles with Big Trouble in Little China. Then Sunday, me and my hat crew will be discussing Doctor Strange for Infinity Saga Sundays. And next week, I will be doing another 90s mystery review. The hint is a movie that predicted the future. So, yeah. Also, I'm on Mara's channel each month for 2 episodes of the ones and twos.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and like I said, I'll come up with the ones and twos for August and September. So I got to think about that. December, I actually want for ones and twos. I want to do Gremlins ones and twos because Gremlins is like a Christmas movie.
Yes.
So I know December's gonna be Gremlins 1 and 2, and October's gonna be Halloween 1 and 2. Just have to come up with the other months for the end of this year.
November.
Anyway, again, thank you, Orange Hat, and yes, I will be on his channel tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern talking about Big Trouble in Little China. Yes, it's Ms. Martin Muse's channel. And Stieg, again, let everybody know where they can find you and all that fun stuff.
Maybe on your channel next week.
Well, yeah, because normally it would be Cringe Factory, but we are trying a new stream. We'll be trying a new stream out, and that is right now the working title is The Good, the Fun, and the Weird, pretty much, where we try to talk about fun stuff, weird stuff. Try to at least bring a bit more positivity on the streams, because I go through enough cringe on both my solo stream and Talk Nerdy. So,
well, there you go.
but yeah, so that's what we'll be doing next. Should be doing next week, around the same time, 8 p.m. Eastern, thereabouts. And yes, where is it? This is my Twitch. If I'm able to do a gaming stream tomorrow afternoon, this is where I'll be tomorrow. Most likely playing the Space Marine game, Warhammer Space Marine game. Trying that out. And then Friday, after my solo live stream, where I hang out with the chat and just go through articles, I will be live on my Kick, which is basically another gaming platform of sorts. Most likely playing Skur Ritual, which is a substitute to Call of Duty Zombies. So I'm going to check that out and see if it's worth it. So yeah. So again, thank you all to everyone in the chat. Hope to see you all tomorrow during the Big Trouble in Little China discussion. So until next week, for the basically fun stream and any gaming streams I do and Talk Nerdy, have a good rest of your day or evening, depending on where you are in the world, and we will see you all next time. So peace.
Later,
and
folks.
Just when you thought it was safe to go back in the water, don't.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.